Welcome back to Legends in My Own Mind. We are here for the third week with the legend in my mind, the beast of Central Illinois, the monster, Truk Thompson.
Yeah. To stretch my sleeves out when I flex with it.
Yeah.
Nah, so I got lifted up now.
Well, now you buy bigger shirts.
Yes, cover it all up.
Yeah.
I got to give the new guys a chance. If I wear the tight shirts,
give them a shot.
Yeah,
you had your day in the sun.
It's flawless victory for me if I take this shirt off. And poor guys, they have no chance.
Truk, thank you for joining us again.
Without a doubt, my pleasure.
Man, we're here. So we've talked about your journey through wrestling. We talked about kind of like how you developed and how you learned to do this thing, right? Some of the lessons you took. But now I want to talk about your philosophies. So hopefully you've got your think cap on. And
this one says moonshine. Yeah.
Something like that. So that's it. So you come from the Jake the Snake school of wrestling, huh?
Yes, yeah. Just get wasted. That's the my.
All right, man. Well, let's jump right into it, man. What is your philosophy on wrestling?
That's deep. I mean, wow, that's such a big question, really, because you got so many. I'm old school, so I think there needs to be that nostalgic, or not nostalgic. I'm sorry,
No.
Wrong word. There needs to be that believable factor to it.
Okay.
To get out there and suplex off the top rope into the outside, and then give the guy 3 Canadian drivers and a rock bottom through a flaming table, throw him in the ring, and he kicks out 2. There's no more believability to that.
Right.
And I feel like that's why the 80s was such a golden era. They didn't do that. Like it was almost believable. It was almost, even though I was thinking about this the other day that, when I was telling you my family, it was huge get-togethers for my family.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, when you're watching wrestling, especially in the 80s, what's more important, like to a kid, Santa Claus is still real. The Easter Bunny's still real. To see Hulk Hogan, that felt real. And to even hear, I feel like as a kid, you kind of have that feeling about Santa Claus. I don't want to give away any spoilers on that.
Christmas spoilers.
Yeah. But as a kid, to hear, especially in the 80s when there was still kayfabe,
right,
and to hear even your family go, oh, man, is that real? Or was that real? Or, man, that looked like it really hurt.
Yeah.
That even sunk it in even more to where, like, these guys were no longer, they're not just wrestlers, they're heroes. These guys are, really, he really is my All-American,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what wrestling nowadays is missing. You have some believable, and that's not to take away from the characters like Taker, now the Fiend, which is amazing characters.
Right.
And you can still do that, but I think there still needs to be a believability to the match.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my favorite. That's my go-to for anything. Just keep it alive. Keep that kayfabe. Even though it's been blown out of the water,
right,
especially since the internet. Keep it alive somehow. Even if it's just a little bit.
So how do you go about trying to keep it alive when you're putting together your match?
I don't do 3 Canadian destroyers.
Okay. Okay.
And if I do have a guy that wants to come up and it's normally, I hate to shoot on the little guys here, but normally it's the little guys that want to do this flippity thing through this flippity table, and I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, I'm going to, especially if I'm a heel, my favorite match is to get behind get the crowd involved into it, because that's what they're there for.
Right.
And if it's not a TV taping, because I feel like there's two different styles when you're wrestling. If it's TV taping, we'll talk about that later. But when it's a crowd and it's only the crowd, that's all you got to worry about is that crowd. Mm-hmm. So you can do a simple match where you've got a guy like Kyle Landers. He's jumping off top rope every time. Have him right off the bat, jump off that top rope. You catch him, put him down, hold him down. Crowd's going to get pissed. Yeah. They're going to be mad. And every time he gets ready to get back up, you just bring him down. Just as soon as he gets back up, bring him back down to the ground. Something as simple as a headlock. Right. Just hold him in that headlock and just keep a hold of it. Crowd's going to be booing the piss out of you. They're going to be mad. Might even be mad enough to the point where they might leave kind of mad. Yep. But then that's when you get that whole, build up, a little bit of build up, a little bit of build up, a little bit of build up. Have him get to the top rope, do his one big move, cost you to win. 1, 2, 3, it's over with. Something that simple versus, let's do this and 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 this. And not only, I feel like not only, does that, let's say if I walked up to a guy and I punched him 15 times in the face and he did nothing, like he just looked at me. What's that make me look like? Yeah. Versus where I do the simple, my philosophy, if I punch a guy one time in the face and knocks him out, what's that make me look like? Right. That's the difference in my believability. When it comes to TV tapings, you can't keep it to the point of a headlock because I feel like people just change the channel. Okay. So you have to have a little bit more arsenal into it. Versus the crowd that actually paid a ticket to come in, they're going to feel a little bit more compelled to sit and watch, which will, kind of sucks to say that. Well, no, it makes perfect sense because you've got they're there to watch you. You've got their complete attention. Short of like the guy coming around with beers or, if they got to go to the bathroom, you've got their complete attention. You're the only thing happening in front of them. Exactly. Whereas the people sitting at home, they've got 500 other channels. They've got their phone, Netflix, Hulu. They've got the kitchen. They've got what's in the fridge. You've got a lot more to compete with the audience at home for sure. Yep, and that's So you got to throw a little bit more into it, not make it as boring as just a headlock. Right. I don't think I would keep it at just a headlock, but I would definitely ground him versus him doing all these moves to me, making him look weak. Yeah. And then ultimately, more than likely. Especially if he wins, then that makes me look super weak. Right. I beat the hell out of this guy. I picked him up and gave him the old Hulk smash, back. Then he gets up and beats me with one move. Yeah. So I look weak, and it drives me nuts. Like it's my biggest pet peeve. Okay. Well, that just to me that always just looks like a lack of creativity. Yeah. Maybe a little laziness where it's just like. Okay, we'll just do this. It'll be fine. Beat the hell out of our bodies. Yeah. What's that? Oh, Prestige. And that's why there was a movie. I was trying to think of it on the way here. Okay. Have you ever seen it? Huh? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give you spoilers on that, but that's no, you're fine. That's kind of where for the Prestige. Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that, anyways, I'm going to spoil it. But yeah, it's like the whole movie that guy was trying to figure out how that guy did that one trick. Right. And then come to find out that guy lived the trick. That's the reason why nobody could figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like. When I show up to a show, especially when I was really had that drive and that that wanting to push myself to the next level. When I showed up to the show, I was Truk Thompson before I even got out of the car. Yeah. I'm Truk Thompson from the time I get into the town I'm wrestling in. I get into the get out of the car. I get in the back. And then I can kind of let loose a little bit. Mm-hmm. I always liked dressing to the fly. I liked, making myself look presentable. I didn't wear a suit and tie, but I did wear, nice dress shirts and dress slacks. For that time, I was really pushing myself. Yep. Dress shoes. And then when I was leaving, and also with the whole Prestige thing, if I was a heel, I'm coming into the building as a heel. Oh, hey, Truk, what's going on? Up yours. Right. Or even there many times. How can I get your autograph? I grab their marker, I throw it. How many people I pissed off to just simply doing that, throwing a marker. They hate me already. Right. I don't have to do nothing. Or as a face, go in there and you sign all the autographs, get there early, sign some autographs for so. And then once again, my philosophy on that: don't water yourself down.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, they always want to spend their entire time out in the crowd. That would, spend their entire time out in the crowd. Now they don't. What's the crowd paying to see? Like you're just another fan.
Yeah.
Don't ruin that for them.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy sitting out in the crowd while the match is going on. All the matches are going on.
Yep.
Not only does it look awkward when there's the heel trying to get his moment beating up the good guy because everybody's looking at you trying to why aren't you saving him? But it waters yourself down.
Yeah.
Stay in the back where you belong. That's you're a wrestler for a reason. You bought the gear, you did the training, you earned your right back there. That's where you should be. Once again, not to echo it, don't ruin that for the fans. That's what they want to believe. They want to believe it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like what you're talking about, man. I think there's a comfort level. Not everybody is not every wrestler is going to be comfortable being a jerk. You know what I mean? Before and after.
You'll get over that.
For sure. But no, I say a lot of times the job of the fans come to suspend their disbelief.
Yes.
Our job is not to make them believe. Our job is to give them as few opportunities as possible to question.
Yeah.
Right? They come for the show. They know it's predetermined. They know it's fake. They know what it is, right? So they come for that. But every time we throw a punch that looks weak, every time we act out a character, every time we do anything like that, they go, oh, it's a show. That's right, it's fake. Every time we do something like that, we pull them a little further away. Just like,
that's why I used the movie The Prestige. Everybody knows magic's fake.
Yep.
But you believe it for a moment.
Yeah.
Just for that one moment. And there's a way they're doing it, but how are they doing it? And that's the beauty of wrestling. Not only is there a magic trick to what we do, but we also bring them in emotionally too.
Yeah.
Make them believe in us as a character. They're rooting for us. Whereas not that I'm downing magic. I love magic. But there's not, you don't ever hear anybody go, go Chris Angel. It's not like that. Go Guy Smith or boo Guy Smith.
Yeah.
So they get emotionally involved and they still have that believability behind them.
Mm-hmm. Good. Man, it's pretty good, pretty succinct philosophy there.
Yeah, keep it simple, man. Yeah. I love, like I said, I grew up in the '80s era.
Yep.
Not that. I love all wrestling. I like to complain about it just like any other wrestling fan.
Right.
But I feel like '80s was definitely the moment. They didn't have the big entranceway.
Yeah.
Look at WrestleMania 3. How many tickets? What was the ticket sale on that?
WrestleMania 3 was
82 something crazy thousand or
97.
Was it
something like that?
Yeah. How big was their entranceway?
Oh, they didn't
even have one. Yeah, they didn't have one. Yeah. So that's that gave that give that believability and you build that character to where people get behind them in a different and it's a new era. I understand things change and you got to flow with it. But if you do it right, you don't need this big old extravagant entranceway. You don't need to pyro's cool. That's great, but you don't have to have it. Just as we're indie shows where we do our thing. We don't, and that was.
Yeah, we don't have. We don't have that stuff.
Maybe a popper. Yeah. Might be about it.
If a promotion has a fog machine. that's a fancy promotion. You hit the big time if you've got a fog machine.
Strobe light and a fog machine. Oh shoot, that's funny. That's true. Yep.
No, man, I like it. That's perfect. Quick to the point. I think it probably makes sense to most people. Make it believable, man. I think there's a lot of lessons to believe in yourself. You know what I mean? If you don't believe in you, they're not going to believe in you. And if you don't believe your character, your match, whatever, they're not going to believe it. And I think that's kind of we see a lot of times. We talked last week about the guys who do all the flips and the big spots, and you talked earlier they do so many moves, right? They believe in the moves more than they believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's a little bit of what we're starting to see. So that's what they put in their match. I can't get over. Why is anybody going to believe in me? But they are going to believe if I do 3 flips off the top rope and squash a guy. I think that's a little bit of something that we're kind of seeing starting to come out, that lack.
Creativity, yeah.
Yeah, you talked about in the old days, they didn't have the big entryway. WrestleMania 3, they didn't have a big entryway. Hogan, Piper, Macho Man, those guys had to come out and they had to be the presentation. Nowadays,
yeah, you got the
WWE's
music,
got the lights and the Titantron and the big rampway. The whole ramp lights up and sparkles, and when they had pyro for so long, like all that stuff is cool and it adds to the show. But then how easy is it for some of those guys to get lost in that?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
And
Like the spectacle, like, oh my gosh, there's pyro and the music's blaring, and look at the video is playing. The whole screen's a video screen now. Like the whole wall of this arena is now a video screen. That's incredible. And the dude is. Who's that dude?
Yeah.
Why is that dude standing in the way? Get out of the way.
At what point do they say, we've jumped the shark?
Yeah.
That's we need to really get back into the philosophy, get back into the aspects of true wrestling. And nowadays kids have their cell phones. Everybody's got their cell phones. I'm guilty of it too, burying my face in my cell phone. So I know how easy it is to get distracted. So I know there is a time and a place for the flippy flips and for the Canadian destroyers. But yeah, just doing like I was telling you, that match I watched where a guy did 3 Canadian destroyers and oh man, what else did he do? It was like it was just these massive moves.
Yep.
The guy's like dropping the other guy on his head over and over and over again. He goes for a pin, and it's 1-2 kick out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that and that starts to that makes you question. That makes the fans question. Are we there for the gymnastics, or are we there for this match? If a guy's kicking out of it, at some point you go, okay, that he hits that first time, you're like, holy cow, can't believe he did that. You get the fin out. If you finish the match with that emotion, that holy cow, did you see that, bleeds into the you go with that for the end of the match. When you do that stuff over and over and over again, holy cow, the second time you do a Canadian Destroyer, you don't go, holy cow, you go, hey, there's that move again. And then the third time you do a Canadian Destroyer, you go, that's the third time I've seen a Canadian Destroyer
in this match.
And then the guy, you know what I mean? So as you burn through that, you burn through the emotion of it.
Yeah.
And some of these guys don't get that.
Watering it down.
Some of these guys do these matches very well. Right? These high spots, lots of moves, some of them do them very well. Some of the guys just start stringing moves together. And diminish that capability.
And it's entertaining to watch, but like you said, it's just watching a circus gymnastics. There's no emotion. Getting behind the character, getting behind the reason why they're doing it. And I think that match I watched, the guy won with a kick to the back of the head.
Yeah.
You just watered down everything that guy did, and he won with a kick to the back of the head. Come on, man.
Win with the least.
Build up, and at the top, that's where you send them home. Not build up and bring them back down, then send them home.
Right.
I'm trying to think if there's any other philosophies I have. Don't rainbow a clothesline. That's probably my Jesus. I hate that with a passion. Every time I see that, the Indy show or pro.
Yeah. So hold on, let's explain what rainbowing the clothesline means real quick. Not everybody who watches is we probably should stop, and I'll keep this in mind in future episodes, guys. But we probably should make a little more of a point to explain, a lot of the jargon, or maybe what we're talking about for all of my non-wrestling fans. When you rainbow a clothesline, if I'm going to throw a clothesline and hit somebody with a clothesline, I throw it a certain way. When somebody is going to duck a clothesline, a lot of times you'll see guys who throw their clothesline high to make sure, to make sure somebody's getting under it, or to make sure so like your arm moves in kind of a rainbow instead of coming straight across. Your arm moves in kind of a rainbow. That's why we rainbow in a clothesline, to make sure they have room to duck under it, or to make sure that if they don't duck, you don't hit them, whatever the case may be.
You wouldn't have hit them if they would have been standing up straight, is what it looks like.
But also like you bring that up as like part, but that comes right back to what you were saying, like that believability. As soon as you throw that clothesline up and over somebody's head, you know what I mean? You're watching it and you go, well, that wouldn't have hit him anyway. Why? What were you doing there? Did you think he was going to jump? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you question that.
I was hoping he was going to go for a leapfrog.
Right.
Really.
Oh man. Well, Truk, I think we've said it all, man. You've got a simple philosophy. It's worked out well for you. I think it's an important philosophy for wrestlers to consider and for fans to consider when they're watching. Like,
especially wrestlers, man. These guys, they're building up this new era. I mean, and you look at the injury rate now. Mm-hmm. These guys are getting put out in neck surgeries left and right, versus where like the '80s guys, they got hurt. They got hurt too, but the difference is these guys were living on cigarettes and bratwurst every day. That's what they got paid. They weren't making the money these guys are making now. These guys have, full blown everything, massage therapy in the back. They've got personal trainers, and they're still getting hurt. Yeah. And then we've got our guys on the indie scene that are trying to mimic these dudes. They don't have that. They don't have the massage therapy. They don't have the doctors. And they're getting hurt left and right too. Yeah. And they're still, they're still pushing through. And even me with my philosophy, I've still got the bumps and bruises to prove it. And it doesn't get any better. It just gets worse the older you get.
Yeah.
You get new friends, arthritis. That guy sucks. So you got to take care of yourself. And that's what I feel these new kids, man, they're just going to, even though it's cool to watch, you got to really step back and understand what the big picture, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
Wrestling's fun now, but there is an afterlife after wrestling. Hopefully it's not,
Yeah, for sure, man. Get the most out of it while you can. Make your stuff, and that's the thing about making it realistic. You make it count, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we just start throwing, like we talked about, like I talked about with the Canadian Destroyers, by the time you throw that last one, that third one, that emotion's not there. Why are you throwing it? What's the point of it?
There's zero win. Like, it makes the crowd loses the emotion. It makes you look weak.
Just more risk and more.
This dude threw 3 Canadian Destroyers and it didn't win.
For real. All right, man. Well, you know what? This has been great.
Without doubt.
I appreciate you being open and sharing your philosophies with us. I know they appreciate you being open and sharing your philosophies. I got one more week with you, man. Next week, we are going to talk about your Survivor Series Dream Team.
Now, we're doing like old school Survivor Series where we had like 5 tag teams, so I got to name 10 guys.
No.
And there's no room on the side of the ring.
No, man. No, we can do
just your top 5. All right.
Top 5.
All
man,
right.
Top 5. All right, guys. We will see you next week with Truk's Survivor Series Dream Team. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Legends in My Own Mind. See you guys next week.